Welcome to the Paralyzed to Prosperous podcast, where we focus on leadership, business, and personal development. Hey, so when it comes down to it, this is a Jorge Sierra and Associates podcast, and what we want to do is bring value. We Jorge puts out posts all the time. He puts out videos, but we want a different way to bring, you know, weekly value to our audience, to Jorge's audience, right? So, today is one of those things where we're just kind of introducing ourselves, introducing what we do, and showing that we are really here to add value to you, to your space, right? So, Jorge, talk to me.
Hey, what's poppin'? Listen, I'm super excited. Let's say, today I'm looking back in our milestone as a company, and so the fact that number one, it's 2023. Happy New Year's for all you folks out there that's been rocking with us, and for those new ones that are stepping into this platform, Happy New Year's. And so I just want to say we made it. That's first of all, right? And I'm super excited because it's such a milestone. And, we've been rocking for about 5 years. The company's been rocking, creating the brand to a point that, shows everybody what Jorge stands for, what we stand for, right? Because I know you say Jorge's platform or Jorge's, podcast, but this is us, man. Like for real, for real. And let me make it clear off the rip. There's no me without you guys, right? DJ, Alalai, my sister, my brother, you guys been able to be the catalyst to what's coming, where we have gone from where we were to where we at now. And I promise you, man, I'm super geeked because, man, God is good. God is good. God is good. He got us all the way to 2023, and I'm super excited not only to start this year with this platform because, like you said, DJ, we want to bring the flavor. We want to give you the insight of where we were, where we going, and how we do it, right? And there's gonna be some we're going to speak authentically to what it is. We're not going to sit here and try to act like we figured it all out, but we're going to give you to where we at, and we're going to figure out what that is to the next step together. And so you're right, man. I'm super excited to be here. We're going to be doing these once a week. We're going to be posting them. We're going to be, giving you the access so you could get the information. And a lot of you guys, been rocking by yourself, and you don't got to rock no more. You're part of the Jorge Sierra and Associate team and family, right? Because I truly believe that nobody gets to that level of execution, that level of mastery by yourself, right? There's certain things that I was able to do by myself, but then God was like, yo, we need a team. We need a team. We need a team. And I pray for it. I say, God, like, how can I do that? And out of nowhere, my sister, the queen, right? The backbone to this organization, popped up, and she started rocking with me and working with me. And, a year or two, and here we are, right? And she's like, bro, I don't know what it is, but God put it in my heart. I gotta rock. Like, let's see what we could build. And so shout out to Alalai, and she's gonna have a second to kind of introduce herself. But then DJ came out of God's grace and was able, like, yo, I need to be able to work with you. I want to be able to serve, and let's get this brand to the next level. And this is going on about a year and a half now, if I'm not mistaken, give and take. And I'm just grateful, man, because God is real. God is real. And so I prayed on it. He delivered. And now it's just a matter of us, taking what he's given us and take it to the next level. So, yeah, man, welcome to the Paralyzed to Prospect podcast. Yes, you heard it. We're going to help you get from that paralyzed mindset all the way to that prospect mindset. And in between, what are those call of actions? So I'm super geeked to every week just kind of pour in, not only to myself, my team, but the rest of the world, man. So let's get it, man. Sis, talk to them. Let them know who you are and what we're doing here.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I am Alalai Israeldor. I operate as really the chief operating officer of the company. And yeah, when you guys want to book Jorge, you talk to me. so, yeah, that's pretty much my main role is to kind of keep things going, get us connected, and really help you guys reach whatever your next level is. So it's not what we imagine for you, but it's what you imagine for yourself. And really clearing the forest so that you can achieve the things you want to achieve, right? And we do that through leadership. We do that through personal development. We do that through character development. So I'm excited to be here with my brothers and have some fun. And, you guys get to have a little bit of the inside conversations that we have that we typically don't record. That's what you guys will be getting. And yeah, we just hope to deposit those nuggets that you need to be able to go to the next level, whatever the next level is for you.
Hey, I just want y'all to know she don't play when y'all try to reach out to get Jorge. Like, you know what I'm saying? That free boy, like we here to serve, but I promise you, you had a better chance with me. Now you're dealing with Alali. She don't play. She's the backbone to this whole thing. But yeah, man, it's a
She
blessing.
don't. She
It's a
don't play.
blessing.
She don't play those games, and that's what we love it though. You know, it's something that
Yeah.
has definitely rubbed off on me. And just to let y'all know, I am Steez. Friends call me Dylan. Friends call me DJ. Whatever you want to call me. As my aunt says, just don't call me late for dinner. When it comes down to it, man, I truly just love to serve. I love to serve Jorge, and I truly believe that you can't lead until you serve, right? So when it comes down to it, I'm here to serve JSA, here to serve, the whole team, here to serve y'all as well with whatever I can under what I do, right? Under marketing and branding, that's what I do for Jorge. And hey, this is just something that we love, man. I'm really excited about this podcast because it really gets to show people not only like that we're building, but how we're building and how they can take these simple things that we're doing and add it to what they're doing and progress from there, right? I'm not saying that, we have all the answers because we definitely don't. And on top of that, we're learning every single day. You know what I'm saying? We just got off a team retreat last week, and we just got off a team fast where, we got clarity in different areas, right? So it's like, when it comes down to this podcast, we didn't want to be all I mean, I had notes. The B100. I was messing up on the notes. Hey, this is our third or fourth take, yo. We ain't we ain't playing out here, but without these notes, things flow more, right? And we just want to show y'all that authenticity um, of JSA and why we're here to serve Jorge, right? So, hey,
And
just
not
to get
even
into
not to cut you off. We not here to serve Jorge. I'm a servant too. Let's not get this twisted. We here to serve God, right? We here to impact the world. We here to make sure that if you feel like you're by yourself, you're an underdog, you've been mistreated, you just don't have the information, you just don't have somebody, a tribe to rock with, you don't have somebody to just kind of sit there and get around the fire. That's what this is, right? And don't get it twisted. Ain't nobody here, like we all under the same CEO, and that's our Father and Savior. And so we're gonna lead with always with ethics, characteristics of what that is, right? And so just know that we all servant here. We here to rock with you. And like DJ just said, we don't have it figured out. But what we do have figured out is that, God is love, God is everything, and through him, all is possible. And we all have individual stories that led us here, and we'll get to that. But we want you to understand that, man, take your shoes off, get comfortable, get around the fire. Like you got a brother, you got two brothers here, and you got a sister here, right? Like you no longer could say, yo, I don't have that tribe, I don't have that family that's gonna help us get to that next level. Because we're gonna do it together, man. My bad, DJ, but I want to make it clear what we stand on and who we stand for. And the true leader here is in the CEO of JSA and whatever else we do personally on a personal level is God, man. So I just want to make it clear because we're gonna be very vocal on how we move. And I'm glad that you shared that we did the retreat, we did a fasting, right? Because we not like, don't get it twisted. We out here and we got to make sure that we chase the bag, but there's a purpose in why we chasing the bag. So it's not just to get the bag, and it's not just to say we do XYZ. There's a purpose behind it. When we move with purpose, then that creates that why. And you're gonna see through our journey, you're gonna see what that why is, and our goal is to make sure that you embody that. So yeah, man.
100%, man. 100%. I appreciate you clearing that up because you're definitely right. We're here to serve God. This is good. Everything we do is God led and on God's timing. So 100%, man. Yeah, man. So you briefly said, we serve the underdog. So before we get into it, talk to us. Who is that underdog that we serve?
Well, the underdog is like first of all, the first person that I had to start coaching is who? It's Jorge. And so the underdog is that individual that came from lack of education, came from no family structure, came from lack of a father, lack of guidance, role models, right? Because it's just I didn't have that. And mind you, I come from a good family. That doesn't mean that my family is not good, that they not then they didn't do the best they can. But I grew up with lack of a lot of things, and education was one. Character was another, and we start there because I believe that the first client that I started working with is who? It's me, myself. And so I always identify with like, yo, Jorge, how did we get from that paralyzed mindset all the way to that prosperous mindset is by identifying who am I? And so I grew up with a lot of challenges, just like a lot of y'all. And whenever I share my story, I want you to know we never do compare, narratives here, right? Because whatever you're going through is valid, and it's not to be compared with nobody else's trauma. We all have something. I always say that we should write down our problems on a piece of paper, and you throw them on the floor, and you grab somebody else's problem. Most of the time, you're gonna say, "Yo, give me my paper back," because I'm all right dealing with my problems. Like that right there is a little tough. And so I've never sit here and just do the comparative narratives, but I want you to identify and understand that that's the target. That's who we're helping. We're helping individuals that just they want better. They strive to wake up every morning and make a choice, and it just they can't get past that ceiling. They can't get past that pattern that continues gives them the result that they don't want, and they just don't know why it's happening. And so it took me a long time to really start understanding, number one, who Jorge is. Number one, number two is it's all right to be who Jorge is, but what it's not all right to do is to continue creating the same patterns, same behaviors, because that's insanity, and it continued to give me the same results. So it got to a point in my life that I said, you know what, I want to help those individuals that inside of them, right? Because it's not about try to convince you about your mindset. Because if you have that fire inside of you, if you say, yo, enough is enough, I just don't know how to go about it, that's where we step in. That's where we want to be able to pour in and give you the skill sets to become a leader, not only in your household, right, in your own life, but in business. Because let's be honest with you, don't get it twisted. We don't. Our purpose is God led, but we out here chasing the bag. We just want to make sure that we get to a point that when God puts us in those positions and give us that financial freedom is to serve back into the world. And so to provide the information, provide the processes, provide the support, guidance to those individuals that come from where I come from where DJ comes from where Alali comes from. Like, listen, we all have a story. We all have a story. And so I'm Hispanic, Puerto Rican, right? I'm a minority in this country. And so I've always been in a position that I understand there's certain systems that work against me. There's certain situations that work against me, but I don't make no excuses. I believe in, like, okay, let me become the system. Let me learn what that system is. So my job is to make sure that whatever I've learned, I'm gonna pass it down to you. Whatever we learn, we're gonna pass it down to you, because this is what we do. We pull each other up. So that's who we serving. We serving those individuals that are just tired of being tired of making excuses, ready to get put in some work and really put up their sleeves and say, you know what, like, yo, what's next, right? God, give me the information. Give me the not just the information, because it's 2023, bro. Information is everywhere, but you got to make sure that you consume the right information with the right characteristics and the right intentions. And that's if God lets through God, that's where we want to be at.
100%, 100%. And with that being said, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So when it comes down to these underdogs that we serve, let's do it like this. How did we get ready? As individuals, how did we get ready for this year? Not as JSA, but as people, as an individual person. Alali and Jorge, how did y'all get ready for 2023?
Ladies first. Go ahead, sis. Like, give them that work.
Yeah, I would say for this year, I tried a very different approach when it came to what I wanted to achieve overall. That started with having a very honest conversation with myself about the information I had, but I wasn't stewarding and I wasn't putting into action. It's very easy to get information, but to take it to the next level and put the action behind the information, that is the true beginning, not just accumulating the information. And so I had a heart to heart with myself. I was very honest about, like, oh, this is where you are versus where you want to be. These are the things that contributed to you not being where you want to be. Okay, cool. I got it. I got to change it up. So I didn't focus too heavy for this. Excuse me, for this, but sorry, for this particular year, I didn't focus too heavy on these are my very strict goals. I started off with a year in review, a
Mm-hmm.
life in review. Okay, like I'm seeing some patterns within my own life. Okay, cool. I need to kind of evaluate those patterns because I think it's kind of stopping me. I feel like I'm good, but I'm trying to get to great. I'm trying to get to exceptional, right? And so as I continue to do that, it actually is becoming easier to align myself with where I want to go as I continue to have those very honest conversations with myself. But that's where I started.
So
And
it's
it ain't
like
easy having them conversations. It's not easy having to look in the mirror and be like, dang, girl, you let yourself down. You gonna do it again this year, this month, tomorrow, or are you gonna try something different?
Right, right, and it goes back to almost, Jorge said the other day, reverse engineering. What does reverse engineering mean? You literally just explained it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, so when it comes down to it, that's very similar to the way I went about it too. I looked back and was like, okay, what did I not do? When I sat down and talked about 2022, what did I promise myself and what did I not do? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote those things down and reverse engineer it on a plan. Now I didn't just write them down and just sit there like, oh, I suck, soaking in what I didn't do. I wrote them down and then I wrote down a plan to how I'm going to execute these and actually start my New Year's resolutions in October. That's just something I've been doing for a long time. So every time when I wrote this list out, I was like, I didn't do these things, right? Well, how can I start this from October 15th on to next year, October 15th? How can I start from all these things I didn't do? How can I or what can I do to push the needle forward? Well, no matter what it is, whether it's a little bit, whether it's a lot, I want to push the needle forward for everything. So little things like Spanish. Jorge, I'm hitting you up about Spanish. I downloaded apps. Little things like being more compassionate in my day-to-day life. I'm able to practice by going to the gym and just seeing people for who they are and not how I perceive them, right? So just little things like that. And of course, from the branding side, I went back over my clarity questions. Who am I? What do I do? How do I do it? And who do I do it for? And wrote those out again, right? So when it comes down to it, the clarity of this year just came off reverse engineering, very similar to my girl Ally. But Jorge, tap in with us on how you got ready for this year.
I think you guys spoke a lot in regards to we've been doing life and business together. So I think that I want y'all to be clear, man. Who's your circle of influence? I wake up to these folks and I go to bed to these folks, right? And shout out to my wife that she's right in the mix of everything, and Mama Steve's right. That's the JSA family. So that's number one is that I praise God for that support and that guidance, because what I realized is that we've grown as a business. We moving forward. Even sometimes it feels like it's half an inch or an inch, but we're moving forward, right? And so I'm grateful for that. But this season, and I think I shared it with both of y'all, it was more about and I love the whole thing with October, because I also look at my birthday as in August, like that's the New Year's for me. When I make it to 47, shout out to those late 47, 46, 47. We doing graceful things. But when I get to that point that my birthday, that's when I feel that I'm grateful that God gave me another year. That's my New Year slash, right? So that's something that I've been processing. But I think right when we got to the countdown and to near the 2023, I was expressing to both of y'all that I was more, I have some goals, but I really wanted to just start working on Jorge, me as a person, as developing myself, right? And what do I mean by that? I want to give you some tangible, kind of steps about it, right? Like I wanna, I wanna, by the end of this year, I'm looking to creating certain projects and achieving certain things, not only professionally but personal for me. But I realized that those are tangible goals, but I have a pattern of saying like, yo, I want to reach a certain amount of finances. I want to reach a certain amount of projects, but I concentrate on the end goal, but I never work on what's in front of me, which is Jorge. And so a lot of times I'll fumble, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I will fumble, right? Because I don't develop Jorge, not because I'm not gifted or talented, because God knows I know that there's a gift within myself. I don't have a problem with being reminded that God, has put, life into me, and there's a reason why I'm still here. But I
Right.
also realized, and it's going back to what Alalai was saying. You had to have an evaluation of yourself. You had to kind of look in the mirror and say, all right, Jorge, these goals that you want are achievable, but you're not putting the work in certain areas that are going to help you develop to get those goals, and not only get those goals but smash those goals. Because I'm in a season that I don't want to just do things just to check off. So I realized, okay, what is that for Jorge? Well, we got to develop ourselves in certain ways when it comes to creating content, reading, understanding, research, right? And so this this thought process came in as I do my education on my academic journey, and I realized it's like, yo, like, you have a gift, but if you don't work on that gift, then we can never hit the mastery level. And so that's what I'm seeking. I'm seeking mastery level. I'm seeking that when I go into a room, they're like, yeah, that's the truth right there, right? Not because I want to be validated, but I know that's how God is going to use me, and I'm going to be able to get in rooms. Because mind you, getting in the rooms is never the problem, guys. You're going to get in certain rooms. The opportunity is, or the challenge becomes, can you stay in the room? Can you produce at a high level and create those opportunities over and over and over? And so I realized I've been working backwards. I set out goals, and because I have a blessing to get inside certain rooms, but as I process and I kind of reflected on my life, just like Alali said, I reflected on myself. I'm like, man, you know how many times you got in certain situations and you've been blessed to be in the room, but you haven't been able to stay in the room? That's a blind spot. And so you got to now develop yourself and take those blessings and those skills and take them to the next level. So that's where I'm at. That's how I started 2023. That was the last season of 2022. There was some reflection and just kind of like, yo, like we good, but we trying to do phenomenal. We're not trying to be average. We're not trying to, and because, not because I'm here competing with anybody else, but I just know that I was born to be great. That's just what it is. I'm in the image of my Father and Savior. So for that means that I got to operate with certain characteristics, certain behavior, certain processes. And so that's where I'm at right now. And just in life, right? Just kind of like winning your day. Make sure you win your day. Make sure you follow through with what you say you was going to do, because that's where the confidence, that's where the self-esteem really kicks in, is when you start operating at a small level, and you start trusting yourself, because now you're doing what you said you're going to do. That allows your team, right? Your people around you that could trust you, because they rely on you on certain things, and that creates that snowball effect, and then everybody starts winning. So I believe that it's just, I'm starting with me going into 2023 and really working on those areas that I'm pretty good at. I get by, but that's no longer the energy. We can't just we can't just go in there and just say, oh, we went in, we got in the room, blessings. Nah, we're gonna go in the room, we're gonna take over the room, and we're gonna impact the room, and we're gonna lead by example. And so that's where I'm at with it.
100%, man. I think it goes back to working on your left hand. The concept of working on your left hand. It's like you went in 2022. We from 2021 to 2022, you talked about all these things that you want to work on, and you got good at your right hand because you've been good at these skills, but you just honed in on them, right? 2023, it's about working on your left hand. What can I dunk on my left hand now? Can I shoot the ball with my left hand now? Right? That's about working on things that have been on your list, things that is going to push the needle forward, but you haven't even worked on them yet, right? So 2023 truly is that year. And I want to go back to the Born to Be Great thing. This is just an example, but my whole Instagram name used to be Born to Be Great, 100%.
Okay, I didn't know that. I know that.
Born to Be
See?
Great, man.
We already gave some nuggets now, you see? Come on, let's go. Let's go.
And the thing about it is, bro, it was actually Living for Christ before that. I let people bully me out of that one. And the Born to Be Great, I let people bully me out of that one. Not bully me, but people was like, oh, what kind of Instagram name is that? Or what does that even mean? So, as I changed my brand, I changed to Steez. But when it came down to it, I'm saying all that to say this. The devil will always try to bring people around you to tell you you're not born to be great. You're not great. You can't be great. You can't do that. You can't do this. But when it comes down to it, God got you. When you have a circle like we have, when you just have a healthy circle just in general, you understand that you're born to be great, and you're using these little tools that people, personal development people give you, what we're giving you today, to move that needle forward to be great. Right? Again, we don't have the answers, but these are the things that we're doing to move towards our greatness.
But right? we do have the answers, right? We got the answer to where we at right now. That's the blessing of this, right? We can't teach you how to create $1 million yet. Not yet. We on that, right? Not yet. It's coming. I promise. Stay tuned. Follow us. It's coming. God told us, right? He's gonna trust us to be able to provide, right, and do big things. So stay tuned, right, with that million. But right now, we could definitely get you to the point where we at. How to build your team, how to identify where are those blind spots at, right? Because this is what it is, man. This is the Paralyzed to Prospect podcast. And so we're gonna teach you leadership. We're gonna teach you what are those identifying, right? And so one of the couple of things that we got is identifying where you at, right? Like you gotta identify where you at, right? Before anything. When you have a GPS and you're gonna go, I did a training and it was about an hour away. I got in the car. What was the first thing I did, Steve? What was the first thing I did?
Hopefully put on your seatbelt, but I'm assuming put
I
in the address.
I did. I put on my seatbelt, but then I put in the address, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because I gotta get to that destination. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us just don't. We want to get to the end goal, but we're not identifying like, yo, where you at right now? Like that self-evaluating. Like we all three of us gave you an example where what we had to do to really reflect, and it's going back to the saying about stop looking out the window and look in the mirror, right? That's really what it came down to. So once you look in the mirror, you start identifying where you at, right? Then when you understand, okay, this is where I want to go. Those are my goals. That's where you identify where you're going, right? And through that process, when you put in that address, it's going to give you 2 or 3 routes. It's going to give you 2 or 3 different options of how to go about it. And through there is where I chose, if you know me, I want to get there fast. Some people don't want to play tolls. I'll pay the tolls. I just want to get there. I'll pay the tolls. But I say all this to say this, that this is really what we want to be able to provide for you, to identify not only where we're going and give you that journey and share with you as we grow individually and as a collective, right? Because we believe in this. We believe in being authentic. We believe in just sharing. We're not going to try to sound like something we're not, but we are going to help you to get to exactly where we at. We have that destination, right? We not where we were 5 years ago. We're not all working by ourselves. We actually got a family. We got a squad. And through that process, there's growing pains. Man, you see this sister right here? Like, Alalight will check your brother. Like, and I'll be like, yo, you got that. I will walk into that. Like,
Love.
right? Because that's exactly what we need as holding each other accountable. But when you have that information, you don't got to take the long route like we did, like what we had to do to get to where we at right now. So our job is to be able to provide some of that information and give you some skill sets and give you some know-how on how to like first of all, building a team is not easy. I know a lot of you guys are sitting now where I was sitting 5 years ago, like God, like I can't do this by myself, right? I don't want to do this by myself. And God was like, I got this. But I got to first trust that you're going to be the man of character that I need you to be so you can take care of the people I'm going to put in your life. Bottom line.
Right. Right. And so you already identified that first step. So identify where you're at. Now, identifying where you're going. Alalai, how did you identify where you're when it came down to 2023?
I'm a little bit of a nerd. So I actually took time and I mapped out, like I drew out the bigger picture for myself. So I'm like, these are the ideas I have. These are the things, like, this is how I want my life to look. And then I listed out each place that I am invested in, each business I'm invested in, anything I had that I knew was on my like to-dos, let's just say. And then I asked myself, are these, let's just say, core 3 things I'm invested in, are they actually going to get me to this spot?
Hmm.
And that was a big part for me. I'm visual. I know a lot of people out there are. It's one thing to write the goals down or to write the intentions down on a sheet of paper. It's another thing when you can actually see it as a big picture and map it out. Was it cute and sexy? No, it was boxes. It was boxes on a big sheet of paper. But it worked for me. And so I think, other than just identifying where you are, that next step is to truly be able to visualize it. And for me, putting it on that paper helped me to like actually check off and say, oh yeah, these things that I have said I'm committed to actually do support the goal that I say I'm trying to get to. Because sometimes you can be invested in spaces and it's not actually going to get you to where you want to go, but you don't recognize that until you take a step back and can see it from a bigger picture. So that's one of the things I do for myself that kind of helps my brain and just visualizing it and like, okay, and I have to do those regular check-ins. I do that little drawing out for myself regularly. Okay, I said I made this decision, but does it make sense to these other things that I'm trying to get to. So that's my little tidbit of how I move the needle forward.
That's good.
So when you draw it out and make that plan, does it just make it easier for your brain to, just
Oh
comprehend
yeah.
what you do moving forward?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because one of the things when I talk to you guys about projects, I'm like, what's the purpose? Right? Like I'm always asking, what's the purpose? And that could be a very frustrating question, but no, really, you want to make sure you're in. First of all, time is limited, right? Like we have limited time. We don't know when we're going to leave this earth. So I want to make sure that for whatever time, however much longer the Lord has me on this earth, I'm investing it in spaces that make the most sense for what I
Mm-hmm.
feel like God is calling me to. And so the more I can draw it out and I can see the big picture, and for me, it's about connecting the dots. So if you learn to identify patterns in your life, the ones that lead to successes and the ones that lead to, you being derailed, I won't say failures, but at least derailment, that is going to alleviate a lot of your headaches because you got to be able to recognize, oh, this is a pattern in my life. I love when I go down this route, but whenever I make these types of decisions, I don't get the results I'm hoping for. That's another
Mm-hmm.
level of self-awareness and personal development. Is it easy to do that? Not really. You have to be honest because it's easy to draw a map and say, oh yeah, everything I'm doing aligns with where I'm trying to. No, girl, get real. No. So yeah, no, it really helps me to visualize it. And my brain, I'm one of those people where I'm always generating ideas. I always have ideas. I'm always thinking about the next way to make more money, the next way to take that money and impact someone or impact an organization or build a new organization that impacts the next person. That's just how my brain works. But for me personally, I have to be able to connect the dots. If I can't connect the dots to something, what's the purpose? What's the benefit? Who are we trying to help? It ends up not 10 in most cases is not the best plan for me to attach myself to that thing.
Right, right. And when you make a plan and connect those dots,
Yeah.
you have to execute that plan. There's no, when you make this plan, I'm not even saying, me and Jorge, we be on that Grant Cardone sometimes. And, he's a fool when it comes down to, not a fool, I'm sorry. To put it in better terms, he's great when it comes
You said it. You said it.
comes
Don't
down to
take it
going
back.
hard. Huh?
I see you said it. Don't take it back.
Y'all know what I mean. He is great when it comes down to that, making goals and doing them 10x, doing them 10 times what it is, right? My thing about that is I do branding. So I do branding, I help people map out things. So when it comes down to executing these plans, I say make a plan that, yes, it's above what you're used, something that gets you out of your comfort zone, but make a plan that you can execute. Because you don't want to make a plan that you feel as though you're like, okay, well, this plan is amazing. I wrote it, mapped it out for 3 years, but I don't even think I can get there because I don't think that my brain will let me execute this plan, right? So when it comes down to when you map it out to where you can execute because you can always make new plans. You can always make new plans, but map out to where you get from step A to step B. Boom, kill that plan, execute it. Okay, boom, step B to step C. Now, if you feel as though you have a plan where you can go from point A to point G, you know what I'm saying? That's perfectly fine too. But regardless of anything, execute that plan and execute it with no excuses whatsoever.
Hey, but
And
real.
let me say, you brought up Grant Cardone and like 10x and everything again. And I know we keep bringing this up about self awareness. I'm gonna keep it 100. I can 10x it within 30 days. If you try to get me
Mm-hmm.
5 years down the road, I'm not gonna be there. You'll be there by yourself. I'm just keeping 100. But what works best for me, if I have short bursts, at least within like a quarter, right? That is what works best for me. And I think what happens, a lot of people, come across concepts like 10 times it, or like, you got to hurry up and get it done within 7 days. And they cause themselves to crash and burn. You have to know yourself. If at this current moment, with the tools that you have and the knowledge that you have, if you can only 1.5 times it, then max out at 1.5, right? Get really good at that and then increase it. But you have people who only have the capacity to 3 times it that are trying to 10 times it, and they cause themselves to get overwhelmed. Then they quit their projects. Then they're, got clients mad at them because they're not turning in things, so you have to think about it from all aspects. You have to be very honest with yourself. And at any point in time, let's say you do take on a project or you are pursuing a goal and you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to get it done in 60 days. And it's day 25. And you're like, maybe not. It's okay to reevaluate that plan at day 25. Don't like stretch it out. And then again, you're going to start avoiding taking care of the responsibilities that you said you can do. And, you're missing deadlines. Again, another version of self awareness. Always be
Mhm.
aware of what's going on, and know that if a plan that you thought was going to work doesn't work, don't be afraid to change it right then and there. Don't just stay so committed to something you end up, destroying your brand reputation or destroying your pocketbook because you aren't, being honest with yourself about what you can actually handle for that season of your life.
Mhm.
Hey, real quick, man, as you touched on that, Adeline, that's really good because I think that, we don't wanna, one of the things that I know we all feel the same way is that we don't want to give no rah, go against
Mhm.
push through the door and break the door down and it's pretty much what she's talking about, right? Like
Yeah,
that's cool. And mind you, number one, I work like that. Like I love that in my face and you calling me out. I don't take that personal. I actually call it that's love, right?
Mhm.
When you're literally in a space that you are calling what Jorge needs to do and just calling me on it, that's love. But I think that the first thing is really to identify is that you got to identify who you are, right? So Alalai kind of really told you how she works and what it is the things that you have to do in regards to what that she has to do in regards to breaking down her process, right? And a lot of you guys, what's happening is that you guys are working somebody else's process. And so
exactly.
that's within itself, it's a blind spot, right? That's gonna give frustration because what happens with a lot of us is that we don't understand who we are, how we receive information, and how we work. I'll give you an example. Steve said that's what he does. He does structure for his branding. Alalai said the same thing. They work beautiful together because they do processes and steps. And I've gotten better just being around them because I don't work like that, right? Not that I don't realize that that's one of the things that I need to. That's what I call a blind spot within myself because it's not giving me the results, right? So I admire it. I learn from them. I was just telling Alalai like, yo, we have to do something for the company, and I want to learn. I want to instead of saying Alalai, just do it. Like I want to be part of that because I know I need to learn. But what I also realize is that that's not a forte of mine yet, right? So a lot of times I would be frustrated, but it's because I'm comparing myself to how Alalai does things. I'm comparing myself to how DJ's doing the thing. So I want you to really identify, like, okay, are you someone that needs structure, details? Cool. Use that gift to structure your goals and what that process is. Identify where you at, where you're going, and then what are those challenges in between, because that's where you're gonna find the contradiction. If you're someone like myself we're visionaries, right? We know what the end goal. I want to be on stage and I want to speak to millions of people and I want to create a certain amount of finances so I could, provide for needy, people that are in needs and single mothers. Like, okay, cool. Jorge, we're gonna save the world, but we still gotta take a step back and identify how we're gonna save the world. So when you don't have that skill set, what you do is that you find people that do. You operate off what your gift is, build relationships, pour into people, serve them in other ways, and literally team up with individuals. And that's what we were able to do with all three of us here, right? We all have a certain skill set. We have a common goal, which is serving and impacting the world. But we also understood how we could all come into a certain arena and step in with our own gifts. But that doesn't mean that we don't stop growing. So I just say all this to say that, as you really start identifying where you at and where you're going, what that whole dynamics is, stop adapting other people's processes and
Mhm.
and not that you can't adapt their processes, but make it your own. Understand how
Oh
they
yeah.
work. There's nothing wrong with you. You just gotta build, and it's called compound. And that's going back to what Jorge said a couple minutes ago about working on myself, because I believe that once I learn how to be more detailed, once I learn how to be more structured, I mean, God's using me already. So imagine when Jorge could actually take that information, break it down, and not only break it down, but teach it. Now that's next level.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
facts. And like you said, we need to take these templates and make it our own. Like y'all know, I rock with my body. Like my body is huge on my list. You know what I'm saying? I understand that Braun has now, it used to be $1 million, but Braun now spends $1.5 million on his body. I can't do that. But what can I do? I can spend 1,000 hours on my body, right? I can spend 1,000 hours. I can wake up every morning, stretch. I can do core. I can make sure that my body is good. But am I using his template? No, because I'm not going into debt buying a hyperbolic chamber. But I am going to the people I've seen he's trained with, going to their websites and buying their workouts because that's the template that I can do under my brand or under what I do, right? So that's just an example of taking other people's templates because they're killing the game. I don't want y'all to compare yourselves. I want y'all to see these people who are out there killing the game and be like, okay, how can I get there under what I do, right? So how can we take these concepts and these things and all these ideologies and put it to under what we're trying to do and trying to build, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good because you gotta really tap into who you are, man. And I want anybody that's stepping in and listening to us, right? I just want you to understand you have what it takes.
Hmm.
Like just know that you really got to believe that, right? And I know that we've gone through some lessons in life, and we gotten the lesser of the stick, right? Like we have some unfortunate situation, but that doesn't define who you are. And so you got to get past yourself first, right? You got to forgive yourself. You gotta say, you deserve this. Like Jorge, you belong in a certain level of a success, not only you but your family, because it starts there, right? And then secondly, it's like, you know, really, it's like DJ said it. Like, what are your buckets in life, right? What are your and we'll get into this in some other podcasts, but really understanding what you stand on. What's we always talk about, shout out to the team where we started talking about like you are the table. Everybody's
Hmm.
always seeking to become the table. Like, oh, I'm gonna get my table and I'll build my own table. Well, guess what? You are the table, right?
Off the table.
And we have this analogy that we've been saying since about maybe mid of 2022 or even beginning of 2022, and we were talking about just like, yo, like a lot of folks, we're in a season that everybody talks about building their table, and nobody wants to want me to sit at the table. Like, you're right, you should build your own table, but I think you got it all wrong. What? Because I think when we say build our own table, we literally in our head think we're just a table, us to sit down. No, the table is you. You are the
Hmm.
table. And what do you stand on? What does your table stand on? Right? Each table, if you look at a table, I don't care how long the table. There's legs on the table. There's standing on sign. What are your pillars? What are your principles? Right? And so we'll get into that in another podcast. But you have to start identifying that you are that table. What do you stand on? Because once you identify what that table's standing on, it's going back to what Alala is saying. It's being intentional in how things connect. And am I looking busy? Am I being busy just to be busy, or am I connecting and being intentional how I wake up every morning to go towards the goal that I seeked out for 2023? And so, yeah, I just want you to really start processing that. And we're gonna, as we go into these podcasts, we're gonna really break down certain things because we don't want to do the motivational inspire. You're gonna get that with us anyway. You know that you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that with us. But I want you to really learn as you rock with us and get around the fire when it comes to the Paralyzed to Prosper podcast.
100%. 100%. I appreciate that. In closing, hey, let me ask you, Alala, do you have anything before we kind of close this out?
Well, I'm looking forward to our upcoming episodes and definitely hope you guys tune in and invite your friends, your family, your coworkers. I'm excited about the work that we're doing. I'm excited about the lives that we're changing. Um, I'm excited for people to realize that they've been playing the role of an underdog in their own life when they were always a champion, but they didn't know. So I'm excited to, pour into people a little bit differently than maybe they haven't received in the past. So I'm excited for that.
I love it. I love it. And I'm just excited to keep building with my family, the family of JSA, and being able to serve people subconsciously. This is things we talk about every single day, so why not put it in podcast form, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah.
excited for what we have coming. I'm excited for just what we're building, and I'm excited what God has in store for JSA. You know what I'm saying? So Jorge, close us out, baby.
Hey, listen, man. I think you guys said it all. We gave you some nuggets. We gave you a little breakdown of who everybody is on this team, on this family, right? Like, we identify with underdogs. That's what we identify. But we also know that we got champion bloodline, right? We come from a champion bloodline, so don't get it twisted. We use that because, like, personally, me, I just know I love to be the underdog because there's no like what else can happen? Nothing, because we're underdogs, right? So the what you could position yourself is you're gonna win, right? So I love to be. I've always loved to when you hear the Michael Jordans, you hear the Kobe Bryants, right? They always state that they always talk to themselves and they put themselves as that underdog. Oh, you think you're gonna take this from me? And so that's the mindset. So mind you, we're gonna be able to provide some information and we're gonna be able to really show you what it looks like when we don't know what's next. But when you don't know what's next, you work on yourself. And so we're gonna be able to do this together. So we love you. We appreciate you tuning in. We're gonna promise you this. We're gonna give you everything we got, and we're gonna be transparent as we do it, and we're gonna grow together. And we're not gonna do no extra, little how you call it, distractions or nah. Like you're gonna get the raw cut on deal. Like this is what it is, and it's gonna put us in a place that is gonna hold us accountable. Because guess what? Now it's not about just us three. Now it's about us and the rest of the world. And so hold us accountable, and you're gonna see how we're gonna get this to the next level and go from that paralyzed mindset to that prospect mindset, because it's really where it starts. It's how you see and perceive life. And so I want you to understand, and I'll leave you with this. It's not the cup is halfway empty. It's not that the cup is halfway full. It's that you are the cup. So you have a choice whether you pour into yourself or you pour off of that cup. So let's get it. I'll see you next episode.